Hi, this is Amy Rice with my Module 12 reflection for Introduction to Instructional Technology. The first question, using information from the provided sources, why is internet safety so important, and what is your role as an educator in teaching internet safety to your students? Specifically describe how you can teach internet safety to your future classroom. Internet safety is important for some fairly obvious reasons. Our students are utilizing the internet. They're getting onto different websites and different gaming systems and all kinds of different things earlier and earlier and at a younger and younger age, and they're getting exposed to all kinds of different websites and different interactive things that they can interact with people that maybe they don't potentially know. And so to teach them these skills as far as like what the kind of sites that are safe, what kind of sites that are not, what to do if someone asks you for information, what information is okay to give out, what information is not okay to give out, and what to do when when a stranger tries to get that information from you. Those skills, learning, and that kind of discernment, just teaching them those things at a very young age, I think is really important. I am planning, hopefully, to teach first to third-ish grade in there. And so as far as utilizing these kind of things in my classroom, I would teach them, first of all, I would teach them the very basic skills. What is safe? What is not safe? What to do when this happens, what to do when that happens. Just some very basic fundamental skills so they know what is okay and what is not okay. And then just continuing to build on those. If they come to me with a website, with like information on a website, let's talk about this. Is this information true? Is it accurate? How do we know this? Is this site safe? All those kinds of things, and just continually building on those skills. The question number 2 asks, what were your thoughts after exploring the NetSmarts website and completing the Teaching Digital Citizenship program? Do you feel the training program is relevant and useful for all educators? From what I looked at the program, I thought it was actually really kind of a cool thing. They teach a variety of different skills and different things to work with kids on, inappropriate content, online sexual solicitation, how to deal with that, dealing with privacy issues, dealing with bullying, and a whole bunch of other different things. I thought those were things that a broad spectrum of different teachers, and not just necessarily teachers, but parents, youth group leaders, children's librarians, really anyone who's going to deal with like kids working on the internet or in those kinds of formats, I think potential has a lot of good to come out of it. The program takes, I think it said like an hour and a half ish, and I thought like you're getting a fairly minimal investment for potentially a lot of benefit, and so I thought that sounded like a great thing to do. As far as whether it's relevant to all educators, I think that's kind of going to depend on the situation. If you're like strictly like a PE teacher or a music teacher, maybe sort of, I guess. If you're like a preschool teacher or a kindergarten teacher, maybe. It would just kind of depend on the specific needs of the students and how that particular school system is set up. As far as like general education classroom teachers, like particularly like 2nd grade, 3rd grade, and up into the higher grades, and then like obviously like into the high school, junior high and high school grades, I think training like this would be very beneficial, regardless of what subject area versus like social studies versus math. As far as those kind of things, whatever you teach, I think would be very, very beneficial. Then the last question, reflect on the main points described in the youth safety article, and describe what useful information that you were able to take away from the article. Turn my page. One of the things that kind of stood out to me was the whole issue of the generation gap. What children and students and youth are perceiving and what the adults are perceiving are two, in some situations, vastly different things. And I think that's a very serious concern and a very serious issue. In the article kind of talked about like how we bridge that gap. The skills that these kids have are at times going to vastly be over and above what a lot of regular adults have because they just spend so much time immersed in this technology. And so I think that was something that kind of stood out to me, particularly the numbers. It said that 93% of parents have said that they have had a discussion with their children about internet safety. And compare that to the 61%, so 93 to 61% of kids who have said that they've had that conversation. That's a huge, the parents are saying it, but the kids aren't hearing it. And so really need to kind of some way to figure out how to get the information from the adults to the parents about, or from the adults to the kids about what's safe, what this is okay, this is not okay, and where those lines are, I guess. It said something to the effect that the internet has become like the new playground, and bullies aren't necessarily like these big burly kids anymore. Bullies have now become anybody, really. I mean, you are potentially nameless, you're potentially faceless, there's potentially no consequences, and so you can do and say whatever you want, and there's no consequences. And so that's going to lower people's inhibitions and the consequences of the choices that they make. And so, hey, I can say whatever I want, and no one's going to find me, so I can be mean to this person because they're mean to me at school, so I can be mean to them online. And so I think that's kind of an issue that is going to continue to be an issue and something that's going to have to continually be dealt with and worked through. Something else that I thought was kind of stood out to me as well. Statistically, the number of kids that report being solicited online is actually fairly low compared to the number that actually are solicited. So it's happening, like this, particularly like when they were discussing like the sexual solicitation. It's happening, but the kids aren't reporting it, and that I personally feel that is a huge issue. That's something that is very seriously concerning and something that needs to be addressed. If these kids are getting this kind of attention from adults or other kids or whatever that's not in a good or safe or healthy way, and whatever the person who's doing the solicitation their intentions are, there are some boundaries that are being crossed pretty significantly, and those issues need to be addressed. That kind of struck fear into my heart a little bit, that those numbers are so vastly different and it's so concerning. I appreciated how the article stressed the issue of the privacy, safety, and privacy awareness, particularly like in teaching kids what is okay, what information for them is okay to share, what information is not okay for them to share. I know that, like my husband and I, we've also had our concerns about that as well with my stepson, and how do we go about guiding him on what is okay and what's not okay, and getting him to understand the very, very real threats that are out there. There are people that are not nice and they want to hurt him, and so wanting to give him those freedoms, yet at the same time wanting to give him that protection as well, I guess. So that's just kind of something that kind of stood out to me as well. Overall, I thought the article was really interesting and thought-provoking. Just brought up a lot of things that I really hadn't considered before, so I really appreciated the opportunity to read that. So that is all of my reflection. I hope you've enjoyed, and I look forward to seeing what everyone else thinks. I hope you have a great day. Thank you very much.